Okay po. So, magandang umaga, magandang hapon. I don't know kung ano yung uh, araw dyan sa inyo. But I pray na ito pong araw na to ay marami tayong matututunan. Okay, so ito pong ating pag-aaral is about mga Bible character. At ang isang Bible character natin today is si Jonah. And I'm sure narinig niyo na itong storya na to maliit pa tayo, or whatever religion do you believe, kilala to si Jonah. This is a Bible character. He is the one who prayed inside the belly of the fish. Okay, and other people who are agnostic, they don't believe in this Bible character. But then, paano ba natin malalaman kung totoo o hindi? Okay, so sabi niya um, sinabi sa Matthew, sinabi ni Lord, si Jesus Christ itself, He answered dito, a wicked and adulterous generation asks for a sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Actually, parallel pa to doon kay Jesus when He died, okay, and He rose again after 3 days. So actually, the belly of the fish or the big fish, it pertains about salvation, how God had rescued Jonah when he was thrown into the sea. Okay, so nalaman na natin that this story really exists. Okay, so aralin na natin kung ano nga ba ang story ni Jonah. Okay. So, long before, okay, si Jonah, so babasahin natin, I'm reading in the word of the Lord in NIV translation or New International Version of the Bible. Okay, so babasahin natin, then later on, I will explain. Okay, so ang aaralin natin ngayon is 4 chapters of the book of Jonah, and I'm reading in NIV version. Okay, verse 1. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed to Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bound to the port. After paying the fare, he went abroad and sailed to Tarshish to flee from the Lord. Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea, and such a violent storm arose that the ship threatened to break up. So nakita natin, so the word of the Lord came to Jonah, and the Lord instructed Jonah to go to Nineveh. But he refused to go to Nineveh. Instead, he went to Tarshish. And Tarshish is 2,500 miles from Joppa. Okay, wherein the Lord instructed him just to go 550 miles. So, nakita natin that he ran away from the Lord. He ran away from the instructions of the Lord. Okay, so, patuloy nating basahin ang salita ng Panginoon. Verse 5. All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God, and they threw the cart into the sea to lighten up the ship. But Jonah had gone below deck, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. So, nandun na siya sa ship, and then nagkakagulo sila because of the storm, because of the great wind. So, some of the people in the ship throw their cargo to lighten up the ship, but then he just went below the deck, siguro kailaliman, and then he just fell asleep. Kumbaga dead ma, Jonah. Okay, the captain went to him, nasa verse 6 na tayo, the captain went to him and said, how can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us, so that we will not perish. Then the sailors said to each other, come, let us cast lots to find out who is responsible for his calamity. They cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. So they asked him, tell us who is responsible for making all this trouble for us. What kind of work do you do? Where do you come from? What is your country? From what people are you? So, kinausap nila si Jonah and they asked 5 questions. Okay, tell us who is responsible for making all this trouble for us. Una, they cast lots. Sabi niya, come, let us cast lots to find out who is responsible for this calamity. So we know that, this casting lots, it's very, kumbaga, lagi niyo mababasa yan sa Bible that they are casting lots. Okay, even in looking for the replacement of Judas, when he died, another replacement for disciples. Well, anyway, they pinpointed Jonah that he's the one responsible bakit nagkakaganon ng ship. So when they asked Jonah, they asked 5 questions. Who is responsible for making all this trouble to us? What kind of work do you do? They are asking Jonah all these 5 questions. What is your country? From what people are you? He answered, I am a Hebrew, sabi ni Jonah, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land. This terrified them, and they asked, what have you done? They knew he was running away from the Lord because he had already told them so. The sea was getting rougher and rougher, so they asked him, what should we do to you to make the sea calm down for us? Ang sabi ni Jonah, pick me up and throw me into the sea. He replied, and it will become calm. I know it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you. Instead, the men did their best to row back to land, but they could not, for the sea grew even wilder than before. Then they cried out to the Lord, please, Lord, do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man, for you, Lord, have done as you please. So they threw Jonah into the sea, and the people in the ship cried out, please, Lord, do not let us die for taking this man's life. So they prayed. And syempre kasi, tinapon na nila si Jonah. Then they took Jonah and threw him overboard and raging sea. Actually, it is Jonah's, siya yung nagsabi na throw me into the sea. So the sea, so that the storm will be calmed down. So at this, the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered the sacrifice to the Lord and made him vow. So they threw Jonah overboard. So itong second part ng chapter 1, this is Jonah's prayer. So when the people threw Jonah on the ship, there is a big fish. It is not written whale. It is sinabi lang big fish. Okay? So there's a big fish waiting for Jonah. Di ba nakakatawa? So verse 17 na tayo. Now the Lord provided a huge fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. So he was there 3 days and 3 nights. From inside the fish, Jonah prayed to the Lord his God. He said, in my distress, I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From deep in the realm of the dead, I called for help, and you listened to my cry. So now, this is the prayer of Jonah inside the fish. Okay? So, ang sabi pa dito, you hurled me into the depth, into the very heart of the seas, and the currents swirled about me. All your waves and breakers swept over me. I said, I have been banished from your sight, yet I will look again toward your holy temple. So he was really praying hard because sabi dito, namatay na siya, but then I have banished from your sight, yet I will look again toward your holy temple. And the Lord have saved him. Sabi pa dito, chapter 2, verse 5, the engulfing waters strengthened me, the deep surrounded me, seaweed was wrapped around my head. So natutuwa ko dito sa seaweed because it really kumbaga, emphasized that Jonah was underwater. So seaweed was wrapped around my head, sabi sa verse 5. To the roots of the mountains I sank down. The earth beneath barred me in forever. But you, Lord, my God, brought my life up from the pit. Yun ang sinabi niya. So, when my life was ebbing away, I remembered you, Lord, and my prayer rose to you, to your holy temple. Those who cling to worthless idols turn away from God's love for them. So, these verses are his prayer, okay? At sabi niya nga, but I, with shouts of grateful praise, will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed, I will make good. I will say, salvation comes from the Lord. So here he would realize, unang prayer niya is the Lord have saved him, and he was really grateful to the Lord because he was saved. At sabi niya nga dito, salvation comes from the Lord. And I will shout a grateful praise. So when he realized that, he was praising the Lord, he was thanking God, At nakakatawa dito sa verse 10, chapter 10, verse 10, then the Lord commanded the fish and it vomited Jonah into dry land. So, kita nyo, yung fish mas obedient pa kaysa sa tao. This fish commanded by the Lord and it vomited Jonah. So, minsan mas mabuti pa ang fish. Sumusunod kay Lord. Ang tao hindi sumusunod kay Lord. Okay, so now, Jonah was vomited by the fish on the land of Nineveh. So even though he refused to go to Nineveh, again, he went to Tarshish. So, nagkaroon ng storm. Even he refused. He still went to Nineveh, okay, through the big fish. So, nakita natin that Jonah was vomited by the big fish to Nineveh. So, dun pa rin siya napunta sa Nineveh. And Nineveh is the capital of Assyria. Okay, because Jonah is ang contemporary niya ng mga prophet is si Prophet Hosea at saka si Prophet Amos. And they are prophesying that this Nineveh, this Assyrian, or the Ninevites, will soon conquer the northern part of Israel. That's why Jonah doesn't want to go to Nineveh. Okay, so Jonah went to Nineveh. Go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I gave you. Jonah obeyed the Lord and went to Nineveh. Now Nineveh was a very large city. It took 3 days to go through it. So sa verse 4 na tayo, Jonah began by going a day's journey into the city, proclaiming 40 more days and Nineveh will overthrow. So Jonah began to preach into the Nineveh. At sinabi nga dito, nasa chapter 3 na tayo, sabi nga, when Jonah's warning reached the king of Nineveh, he rose from his throne, took off his royal robes, covered himself with sackcloth, and sat down to the dust. So when the king of Nineveh heard the preaching of Jonah, nag-fasting sila, nag-wear sila ng sackcloth. And then the king of Nineveh is saying, nasa verse 7 na tayo, by the decree of the king and his nobles, do not let people or animals, herds or flocks taste anything. Do not let them eat or drink. So he decreed a day of fasting. At sabi nga dito, but let people and animals be covered with sackcloth, let everyone call urgently on God, let them give up their evil ways and their violence. So they repented, the people in Nineveh, they repented. And then, eto na, when God saw that they did and how they turned from their evil ways, He relented and did not bring on them the destruction He had threatened. So nakita natin sa verse 10 that the Lord have forgiven their sins because they turned away from their evil things. So now, since si Jonah nga, nasa chapter 4 na tayo, Jonah was angry at the Lord's compassion. Nandun na tayo. So, Jonah seemed very angry, become very angry because the Lord had forgiven the people. So nakita natin dito, sabi ganyan, he prayed to the Lord, isn't this what I said? Lord, when I was still at home, that is what I tried to forestall by fleeing to Tarshish. I knew that you're a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger and abounding in love, a God who relents from sending blood. Now, Lord, take away my life, for it is better for me to die than to live. Okay, so he realized that the Lord had forgiven the people in Nineveh. So because of his anger, he told the Lord, Lord, it's better for me to die than to live. But the Lord replied, is it right for you to be angry? Sanabi ni Lord. And Jonah had gone out and sat down at the place east of the city. There he made himself a shelter, sat in its shade and waited to see what would happen to the city. Then the Lord God provided a lifted plant and made it grow over Jonah to give shade to his head, to ease his discomfort. And Jonah was very happy about the plant. So when he went there, so there was a plant that grew into his head and provided him shade. But the next day, God provided a worm, and the worm had chewed the plant. And then, nagalit na naman siya. Sabi na naman niya, I wanted to die. It's better for me to die than to live, because now he's again angry about the plant to just die. And then God says, is it right for you to be angry about the plant? It is said, and I'm so angry, I wish I were dead. Yan naman sinabi ni Jonah. But the Lord said, You have been concerned about this plant, though you did not tend it or make it grow. It sprang up overnight and died overnight. And should I not have concern for the great city of Nineveh, in which there are more than 120,000 people who can't tell their right hand from their left, and also many animals? So, pinakita ng Panginoon dito, you have been concerned, Jonah has been concerned with the plant that died. And how come he is not concerned with 120 people in Nineveh? So, ito yung ito yung story ni Jonah. Okay, so ano ba yung mga mapag-aaralan natin dito sa babasa natin ng salita ng Panginoon? At sabi niya, the Lord have talked to us, and in all his word, there is a lesson to learn. Okay, so ano ba yung mga tinuturo sa atin ng Panginoon dito? So sabi nga dun sa nabasa natin kanina sa chapter 1 verse 1, the word of the Lord came to Jonah. Okay, so sabi, the Lord talked to us individually. And also, if you will read the book of Exodus, even the Lord have an encounter with Moses. So the word of the Lord came to Jonah. God talked to us individually. God talked to us through his word. But the thing is, do we listen to his word? God has something to say to you, but are we available to receive it? Do we have time to receive it, or we are always busy? Or this time we need to dig in to the word of the Lord. Ano ba yung sinasabi ng Bible? Ano ba sinasabi ng Panginoon? Okay, so God talked to us individually. You know, first lesson. Second is we have a purpose or assignment in life. Each of us have given an assignment in life. Sabi niya for God's gift and His call are irrevocable. At sabi rin sa Romans 8:28, for we know that all things work together for good for those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. So all of us have an assignment in life. Whether you are called to be a housewife, to mag-alaga ng mga anak, mag-alaga ng ina, mag-alaga ng mga kapatid, makapagtrabaho, hindi makapagtrabaho. God has a purpose in life. Whatever yung purpose ng Panginoon natin, yun ang hanapin natin. What is my purpose? Because the Lord have created us with a purpose. Ano ba yung purpose ng Panginoon sa atin? This is mainly to worship our God. And we can mainly worship our God if we will do the assignment that He has given us. The first, God talked to us. Second, we have a purpose in life. And yung third natin, don't run from your responsibilities or assignment. Jonah wanted to run from the assignment that the Lord had given him. He thought he can hide from the Lord by fleeing, going to Tarshish. Okay, so sabi nga, there is no creature hidden from His sight, sabi sa Hebrews 4:13. But all things are open and laid bare to the eyes of Him with whom we have to do. So we cannot run away from the Lord. We cannot run away from the responsibilities that the Lord has given us. At nakikita yun ng Panginoon. If we are doing the assignment that the Lord has given us, the Lord will bless our heart. It depends. Gagawin ko ba tong assignment ko na to wholeheartedly? Or I will just run away? Or I will just sleep below the deck. Dead man na lang, like what Jonah did. Natulog na lang siya, wala siyang pakialam sa storm. But then, will ni Lord, kung anong will ni Lord yun ang masusunod. So sabi nga sa atin, we cannot hide anything from the Lord. And Jonah wasted his resources when he paid the fare going to Tarshish. Sabi nga, don't waste your resources, be disciplined. The Lord wanted us to have a disciplined life. Okay, do not waste our time, do not waste our resources by not having discipline. So sabi nga where your treasure is, there is your heart also. Saan mo ba ginagastos yung mga blessing na binibigay ni Lord? Diba? So, and usually for us, we are just God's extension to bless others. God have blessed us to bless others as well. So let's discipline our life. Let's not waste our resources. Don't ignore your sin or calling. Don't just ignore your calling. Sabi pa dun sa ating pag-aaral. What you do today determines your tomorrow. If you keep on running away from the Lord, um, you will just recognize your sin. Okay? Hindi ka pagpapalain ni Lord. If you refuse to obey the Lord, then you will just pay for the consequences. What you do today determines your tomorrow. Sabi nga for example, you have a problem and you ask for advices. If you ask for godly people, it's different advice rather than doon sa hindi godly people. Okay, so sabi nga kung sino ang pipiliin mo, yun ang magiging bukas mo. What you do today determines your tomorrow. If you stick with the Lord, then mapapaganda ang buhay mo. God is a great provider. God provided a fish. It is a miracle that the fish is there. Okay? And same thing sa atin when we are in the brink of the problem, God is always there and God will provide for us. God calls us to accomplish the impossible, and sometimes you will just be amazed by how God worked in our life, how He provided a miracle in our life. And sa ating lang paghinga, this is a miracle already. That's why we also need to always thank God for the life that He gave us. Sabi nga, buhay pa tayo because the Lord has a purpose sa ating buhay. God is a great provider, and then the Lord have forgiven the people in Nineveh because God's forgiveness is available for all. Okay, so ang gusto lang ng Panginoon is lalapit lang tayo sa Kanya at hihingi ng tawad. And God is love. This is His nature. At sa atin, there's always a second chance. There's always a way to dig deeper kung ano ba ang gusto sa atin ng Panginoon. Because what matters is what we do for the Lord. Diba? Ito what matters. Because, when we die, when we face the Lord, at least sabihin natin, Lord, I'm listening to your word. I'm attending Bible study. I really wanted to hear your word. So this is what the Lord wanted us to do. And in everything, the Lord is love and just wanted to forgive us. And another thing that the Lord wanted to know sa atin, pag-aaral natin, is don't live a life of complaining. So Jonah is always complaining, but ano bang sabi ng Panginoon? Is it right for you to be angry? Same thing sa atin. Do you have the right to complain? Diba? Complaining only contaminates life. There is no fruit in complaining. Live a life of gratitude, and you will have joy in your heart. You will be full of joy in your heart if aalisin natin yung pusong nagko-complain. So, lagi tayong magpasalamat sa Panginoon because unang-una, the Lord have blessed us. The Lord have given us life. The Lord have kept us safe. The Lord protect us. There's a lot of thing to think about. And sometimes, if it is hard for us to pray, just look back how God have blessed you and count your blessings one by one. This is how how to avoid complaining. We should always look at the brighter side of life. Sabi nga, sometimes people who doesn't know God will also always see the obstacles. But those people who know the Lord knows the future because the Lord knows the future. The Lord holds the future. We don't know. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know what the future holds, but we know who holds the future, and that is the Lord. So in our life, we should stop complaining. We should live a life of gratitude, and you'll always be full of joy. We can never run away from God's purpose if we resist God. Then will make us realize of the wrong path of our choice. Let us continually take heed of God's command to us. So, maraming salamat for listening to our Bible study, Jonah. And I hope may natutunan tayo. Okay po, God bless you all.